the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division after 10 games skated. That's right, we've already played 10 games on the season. The Preds have a record of 4-6. 8 points has them 7 points behind the first place Dallas Stars. Let's run down the division from the top down. The Dallas Stars, I just mentioned, in first place with a record of 7-1-1. 15 points has them 1 point ahead of the second place Colorado Avalanche. They played the same number of games. The Winnipeg Jets are in third place with 10 points. The Arizona Coyotes have played 9 games. They have 9 points. The Preds find themselves in 5th place with 8 points, tied with Minnesota in 6th with 8 points. The St. Louis Blues are in 7th with 7. The Chicago Blackhawks are in 8th and last in the Central Division with only 6 points on the season. Now for the Nashville Predators, I've already mentioned they're on that CMA road trip. They are right in the middle of it. It is the hinge game, game 3 out of 5 on the CMA road trip, and the Preds on the road so far this season, it's not looking so good in the early part of the year. 1-4 on the road. They've given up 27 goals against. They've scored 27 goals for on the season overall, and they've given up 30 goals against overall on the season. This next game is taking place in Edmonton. Once the Nashville Predators wrap up game 3 of 5 in this road trip in Edmonton, they will be Tuesday in Calgary, Thursday in Winnipeg, before finally making their way back home on November the 11th versus the Arizona Coyotes, November the 14th versus the Anaheim Ducks, and November the 18th versus the Chicago Blackhawks. 3 first-time opponents on the next homestand for the Nashville Predators. Now, for the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers this season series, well, it was rather lopsided in the first game of the year when these two teams met. It was back on October the 17th. The Preds fell 6-1 at Bridgestone Arena, and honestly, the game wasn't even that close. Draisaitl, 2 goals, 2 assists. Hyman, 1 goal and 3 assists, each of those players with 4 points. McDavid chipped in with a goal and an assist. Campbell picked up the victory. Heavy workload, 43 out of 44, and he got the win. UC Saros pulled after 1 period, 7 out of 11. Lankinen finished the final 2 periods. He went 17 of 19, and in recent history, that's the way these two teams have ended up at the end of games. The Edmonton Oilers have been dominating the Preds in the last couple of seasons. They'll skate one more time. The third match of the season will take place on January the 27th when the Nashville Predators will make their second trip of the year into Edmonton. For the Oilers, overall, 2-6-1. So other than beating the Nashville Predators, they've only had one other victory on the season. So 2-6-1 overall is good for only 5 points. They are 6th in the Pacific Division on home ice, a record of 1-3-1. They have given up 25. They've scored 25 goals for. Second time I've gotten that backwards already. Giving up 36 goals against. That's a goal differential of -11. Take a look at their most recent sample size of 5 games. Go back to the 21st of October as a 3-2 overtime loss versus Winnipeg. Follow that up on the 24th, a 7-4 loss at the Minnesota Wild. On the 26th of October, a 3-0 loss versus the New York Rangers. On the 29th, a 5-2 win versus Calgary, their second win of the season. So against Nashville and Calgary are where Edmonton has gotten their 2 victories. And on the 2nd of November, their most recent game, a 4-3 loss versus the Dallas Stars. Now, for the Nashville Predators, a couple of injuries are definitely slowing things down. One on the blue line, one on forward. Shen still on IR. Glass still also on IR. No timetable for their returns. When it comes to the NHL ranks in this matchup and the numbers, let's talk about goals for. 2.70 for the Predators is 24th in the NHL, and the Oilers are honestly not much better. 2.78 is 22nd, so 22nd versus 24th in goals for. In the goals against category, the Predators giving up 3 goals per game is 14th in the NHL, while Edmonton is giving up 4 goals per game, except for when they play the Nashville Predators. They are 30th overall in the NHL. In the shots for category, the Predators generating 31.2 shots on goal per game is 17th best in the league, while Edmonton is generating 33.2. That is 8th best overall in the NHL. Shots against category, 29 against for Nashville, 9th best in the NHL. And when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, they're 12th best in the NHL, giving up 29.8 shots against per game. On the special teams, the Nashville Predators have had some recent success in the power play, and that has ticked their numbers up a little bit. 23.3% conversion rate is 11th best in the NHL. 10 power play goals goals on 43 opportunities. The Edmonton Oilers always have one of the most high-skilled individually and usually lethal power plays in the NHL, but they have dropped a little bit as of late. 21.2% is their conversion rate, 13th in the NHL. You would have never thought the Nashville Predators had a better success rate on the power play than the Edmonton Oilers, but so far that's the case. 7 of 33 is the raw data. 7 goals, 33 opportunities for the Edmonton Oilers. On the penalty kill, the Oilers have a better PK than the Preds, killing off 71.4%. They have given up 10 power play goals. Against the Nashville Predators have killed off 69.7%. That's at 29th best in the NHL. They have also given up 10 power play goals against. When it comes to each and every team in the NHL, high-skilled individuals all across the board, let's start on the home team side of things. And Leon Draisaitl, 4 goals. That leads the Edmonton Oilers in that category. 9 assists, also leading the team in that category. And 13 points, also first on the Oilers. Bouchard, 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points. Hyman's at 3 and 6 for 9. McDavid, 2 and 7 for 9. Kane, 3 and 5 for 8. On the Nashville Predators side of the ledger, Philip Forsberg leads the Nashville Predators in scoring. Highly unusual to see only 1 goal on the board through 10 games, but 8 assists. That's also kind of unusual. Not typically a world-class distribution service, but Philip Forsberg through the first 10 games of the season, a goal, 8 assists, 9 points, leads the Nashville Predators. Tommy Novak leads the team in goals scored. He has 5, tied with Colton Sissons. 2 assists added to that is 7 points. O'Reilly's at 4 and 3 for 7. The captain Romeo-Yosi 2 and 5 for 7. And Colton Sissons already mentioned 5 goals, and he now picked up his first assist of the season, so I can no longer make the joke about how Colton Sissons is an incredibly selfish hockey player. It's a pretty good joke. It was for a while. He has 6 points. He is 5th overall in the Predators in scoring. When it comes to the goaltending matchup, UC Saros, I'll go first on the Predators side. 4 and 5 is his record. 909 save percentage, 2.68 goals against average. 1 shutout on the season that came at home against the Seattle Kraken. Now, I will never understand how the Edmonton Oilers can have such bad goaltending, but Campbell is 1 and 3 on the season, and Skinner is 1-3 and 1 on the season. These save percentages are .878 and .861. The goals against are .435 and 3.62. The Edmonton Oilers have so much offense and so many players on their roster that I cannot believe they have not been able to turn something into a starting goaltender that's at least putting up capable NHL numbers. But again, I can disrespect the numbers all that I want. This team, Edmonton Oilers team, beat the Nashville Predators in convincing fashion, 6-1, only giving up 1 goal, and that is 3 goals less than they give up per game average. So for the Nashville Predators, it's been an incredibly difficult matchup, and for the Edmonton Oilers, this is probably looking at, for them, like a get-right game. You know, the way the Predators used to wear out the Oilers during the Pekka Rinne administration, or perhaps when the Predators used to go up against the Avalanche a few years ago before they rose to the top of the Central Division. Sometimes teams just don't play well a certain matchup, whatever it is, and the Predators are just awful against the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers might be off to an awful start to the season, but I don't know how well that's going to mix. We're going to find out in a matinee show on Saturday afternoon. We'll be breaking it down. That's all I know. Speaking of breaking it down, that's got you all set up for the Predators and the Oilers. We got to go back and talk about the Preds and the Seattle Kraken meeting for the second time of the regular season. It is called the Reverb Sports Full Game Recap, and it is coming up right after this on the Renegades of Puck Podcast.